They are the future of America, and we should invest in them. Everybody will benefit from it, every single American, and you should get used to it. This is a nation of immigrants.
Breaking news. If it bleeds, it leads. In your news today.
You are now tuned in to Dirty Laundry Media.
Stand by.
What's going on, Dirty Laundry family? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Just dropping in, tapping in with another video. And this again is regarding a recent statement made by Nancy Pelosi in regards to the immigrant population of America being labeled as the future of America. So I want to ask the question, are immigrants the future of America? Now, blacks were given credit for saving Biden's candidacy in 2020 and also for turning Georgia blue. Yet on President Joe Biden's first day in office, he signed a bill for the LGBTQ community, which in my opinion is a false group because one is not born gay. It's a choice which can be changed at any time. I mean, how can you tell if someone's gay? Not by looking at them. He next signed a bill for the Asian community, the anti-Asian hate bill, which was a bill specifically for the hate that was supposedly being displayed against Asian Americans. Now, this bill doesn't apply to any other group except for Asians. Now, next up, from what we gather from the rhetoric, is that the illegal immigrant community, comprised mainly of Mexicans and Central Americans, is next up. Now, recently, the Supreme Court declared DACA illegal, yet the Democrats continue to prioritize a pathway to citizenship for illegals. Even the CBC, the so-called Congressional Black Caucus, places immigration ahead of black issues such as reparations. Joe Biden declared during the run-up to the 2020 election that immigrants were the future, and we'd better get used to it.
They are the future of America, and we should invest in them. Everybody will benefit from it, every single American, and you should get used to it. This is a nation of immigrants.
This was right after he was asked whether he supports reparations for slave descendants. Now, Nancy Pelosi is doubling down on that agenda by echoing Biden verbatim.
Obviously, the Latino community is the future of America.
That immigrants are indeed the future of America, and she based this on the numbers that turned out for Joe Biden in 2020. Yet no other group has been a more loyal and dedicated base than Black American descendants of slavery. So the idea that the Latino vote has somehow swayed the narrative in favor of illegals is a false notion and one which I reject. The Democrats, who in years past spoke really tough on immigration, have in recent years done a complete 180-degree turn, and they now declare that immigrants are the future. Joe Biden has signed a number of executive orders, memos, and also proclamations which have reversed most, if not all, of Donald Trump's immigration policies. And in my opinion, this is a national security issue. So Biden has not signed any bill specifically for Black Americans, although he promised to have our backs, just as we have had his.
Especially those moments, and especially for those moments when this campaign was at its lowest ebb, the African-American community stood up again for me. You've always had my back, and I'll have yours.
Now, we had Joe Biden's back to the tune of 87% last November, compared to 66% for Latinos. And this wasn't an anomaly. This is a trend year in and year out, and it has been that way for decades. We're going to get into that in another video, but I just wanted to highlight the verbiage, the language, the commitments being made by the Biden administration at this point in time, as opposed to the appeals the pandering that was given to us in place of policy commitments during the run-up to the 2020 election. So with these facts in mind, Black people need to keep our eyes on the prize during the next election cycle, and we need to repay every Democratic politician with interest, pay them back for the benign neglect that we are currently experiencing and that we have been experiencing for the last 50 years. And that was in the Patrick Moynihan report, where he even suggested, in addition to ignoring Black racial issues altogether, but that focusing on Mexicans and Puerto Ricans would be something that would be very useful. And we still see this play being ran today. So we need tangibles, we need policy, we need a serious pathway to reparations, reparative justice, and a restorative or a reparative agenda for Black American descendants of slavery. We're not going to vote down ballot. We're not pulling the trigger for any Democrat. We're not pulling the trigger for Joe Biden. We have to act like we know, because the only way to get somebody's attention is to reject them in this case, especially in the political sense.
If you want to pull the party, the major party that is closest to the way you're thinking, to what you're thinking, you must show them that you're capable of not voting for them. If you don't show them you're capable of not voting for them, they don't have to listen to you. I promise you that. I worked within the Democratic Party. I didn't listen or have to listen to anything on the left while I was working in the Democratic Party, because the left had nowhere to.
You do not reward bad behavior with 4 more years, extra terms, and extra turns to turn your back on us. This is Dirty Laundry Media. Bill Money signing off. I'll see you on the other side.